Here we go. It is my exam tips video for March 25, and well, I get so many students requesting this now. It's really popular. I've been doing it for a few sittings. I've got a pretty trustworthy gut, right? I don't know what's coming up at all, but I have a good feel for it. And well, in December 24, I got it about half right. In September 24, I got it like 90% right. And my typical is about 3/4 of the things that I tip do come up in the exam. I tip a variety of mainstream and, more random topics. But these are my top tips for March 25, and good luck for the exam, everyone who's sitting here. So, question one, I've gone very mainstream here. The reason I've gone mainstream is because the examiner has been mainstream recently. Mainstream in terms of question style, but not mainstream in terms of what the details are. So I'll run through this quickly, then I'll explain what I mean. So business risks, first of all, that came up in both variants in December. It's been tested regularly. The examiner loves it in question one because it allows them to test your commerciality, commercial acumen, professional skills marks, and it differentiates between students. A good business risk, the student has to bring facts in for various exhibits to tell a complete story, and maybe they had some numbers in as well, and they have to show their judgment by explaining it from the company's perspective rather than the audit perspective. So it's showing your wider skills, so I expect to see that. The New Style ROMs question, the examiner seems to really like this. And I'll tell you why. Right? It makes each of the questions in question one a bit shorter, rather than being like one big 20-mark question, which is hard to mark and just tiring to answer, and nobody likes it. No one sitting the exam likes it. No one marking the exam likes it. When you say to the student, this is the ROM, right? This is the risk of material misstatement, this particular thing. So it was something in December, it was things to do with PPE, a reservoir or something. When you tell the student that, then the marks are for their analysis and evaluation, for explaining why. Why is that a significant ROM? And that shows a high level skill, rather than just can you pick them out from the scenario. So I expect to see that, again, a lot. Both variants of question one, I think, will have that. The examiner loves now to be really precise when they're asking you about audit procedures. That's this third one on here. So they really like saying to you, either it's something totally random they're asking you to audit, like a holiday pay accrual, something you've never really thought about or heard of, or it's something you have heard of, like an investment, for example, but they ask you about something specific about it, like the valuation of it or the classification of that investment. And it's an area here, what the examiner is starting to do more and more with this New Style ROMs question, with a linked procedures question, is make it about a bit of kind of tricky financial reporting. So you might see something on groups, or like associate subsidiary accounting, that sort of thing. That's something that lends itself really nicely to this New Style ROMs question with a procedures requirement, or perhaps inventory as well, around the valuation of inventory. The examiner loves as well audit implications. So part D, instead of being like a bog standard ethics question, they like instead to have some ethical stuff in there, but a lot of kind of wider, more practical issues. And if it is an audit implications question, you've got to be really careful with each point that you explain how it is impacting the audit. Now you've got to bring your final part of your answer back to that. Now, audit implications was on my final mock for my students this exam sitting, and a really common theme amongst students is that a lot of the time they only scored half a mark where they could have scored a full mark for a point, because they didn't explain actually what is the implication for the audit. They got a good point in there, but they didn't bring it back to answer in the requirement. Hopefully you can learn from that. Now, question two, there's always one question that focuses on reporting, and increasingly in this exam, we're not seeing many marks on traditional audit reports. What we're tending to see is that most exams have 4 or 5 marks on audit reporting, and many more of the marks are for kind of wider completion matters, if you like, rather than standard audit reporting. So yes, you do need to be comfortable with audit opinions and paragraphs in the audit report, extra paragraphs in the audit report as well, but don't expect there to be many marks on it. Okay, probably 4 or 5 marks total. What the examiner's increasingly been doing is putting a lot more of the marks on more kind of applied scenario-based matters. So they love this sort of question, a matters to consider and audit evidence question, and it's generally a very heavy financial reporting focus. It allows them to test 2 or 3 areas of financial reporting, and the matters to consider are really, have they correctly accounted for these things? Probably not. And then what audit evidence would you expect to be on the file already? So this is you at the review stage. The examiner loves this sort of question. They give you a lot of details about how the audit was done, and then ask you to critically, or to evaluate it. There might be some good things, so evaluate or discuss it. So say some good things if there are good things, but there'll be more bad things. That's how the questions tend to work, with a conclusion as well. Generally a mark for that, because it will be a discuss or evaluate question. But the reporting question I think that is most likely in your exam, because it's due to come up and hasn't been tested for a while in detail, is reporting to those charged with governance. And what tends to happen in one of these questions is they will tell you a load of issues that happened during the audit, and your job is to go through there and say what things should be reported to those who are, the non-exec directors, the audit committee of the business. That's those charged with governance. You have to explain what should be reported and why. And students really struggle with the why. My tip for you here is don't be repetitive. You can't keep saying the non-exec directors or those charged with governance may not have been aware of this, so we should report it to them. You can't say that for every issue. You've got to have a different reason why for each of your matters. That is hard, right? But practice will get you there. Right, that's the reporting question. Then you will get in section B a 25 marker that doesn't focus on reporting. And I think 3 things are very likely here this time. This one, I think, almost like a home banker. Sustainability is, the latest technical article the examiner has published is on it. It's been tested in September and in December. And then when the new syllabus comes in 2025, September 2025, so this isn't for you, but it is coming, sustainability is going to be an even bigger part of the syllabus. What that is saying to you is that sustainability is right here, front and centre of the examiner's mind at the minute when they're writing exam questions. Therefore, very likely to be tested. Disproportionately likely to be tested. So make sure you've read that technical article on ISSA 5000. And there's another 2 technical articles as well on ESG reporting. Read all of those. And there is a past exam question that the examiner has published on sustainability. They did it in the September-December 24 exam. So make sure you've had a go at that exam. I think it's question 2. Now, going concern hasn't been tested in detail for a while and could be combined with audit reporting in a material uncertainty over going concern type way. So be ready for that. Could involve like forecasting as well, maybe. And examiner seems to like, particularly if in question 1 there hasn't been much ethics, and that's been happening recently quite a lot. Not much ethics in question 1. Boom, I will hit you with a big 15 marker that has loads of ethics and professional considerations and other considerations. Yeah, so be prepared that you might get a big ethics question in section B. It's been happening not often, but regularly enough. Oh, maybe you've been waiting for this one because you watched my little teaser video on LinkedIn. Oh, and I mean, this is a great tip, but it's maybe not the tip you're thinking of. Right, my hottest tip for March 25, I've saved it for the students who are on my course. So those who are doing my Platinum Package, Revision Plus or Revision Core course are going to get this tip, but unfortunately you're not. It's only the paying guests that are going to get it. The lesson for you, maybe the tip is, next sitting, if you need to resit AAA, come on my course. Because not only do I give more exam tips to students on my course, I also write all of these tips into my mocks and exam questions that we use in the course, and I give you amazing wider support. Yeah, there is a reason why my pass rates are always massively above the ACCA's global. That's because my course really, really works. So good luck for your exam in March, but if it doesn't work out, I am here for you if you need to resit in June.